Jose, thanks for joining me so soon after your talk.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about it.
Well, first of all, it was a creative masterclass, and I think a creative masterclass is a beautiful thing because it is really about having young creatives and trying to leave them something that they can be inspired by and do for the rest of their lives. It's like working with students, with young people, and I thought that was very, very inspiring. And what I fundamentally wanted is to give proof to a thing I always say to my creatives, which is awards give you happiness, but change gives you glory. And we're in a very powerful business, in a business that changes many, many things. And we should try to bring about as much change as we can because we are the ones who have the tools.
Right. So what you talked about today was creativity and terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
How did what brought you in this direction?
Well, I live in a country that has been at war for the past 60 years, a war within itself.
Yes.
And over the 60 years, you can have endless discussions about if it's right or wrong, and who's right and who's wrong. And I think that has changed over 60 years. Sometimes the guerrilla has been right, sometimes the army has been right, sometimes the government has been right. It's been, because it's a long war and everything changes.
Yeah.
But what hasn't changed is that we are missing out, we're losing a lot of lives, but we're also missing a lot of opportunities because violence scares people. It doesn't let people work the way they should. And we very strongly believe that if we can help bring down the violence, help end the war, we should. And 4 or 5 years ago, the government at the time came to us and said, we have a military strategy in place, we have a legal strategy in place, we need to have a communication strategy. Can you please help us put that together? Because it can't be that we're changing what we're communicating every day, and it can't be just propaganda either. It has to be, there has to be a strategy and there has to be creativity behind it. And we were very honored and actually very, very happy that somebody.
What were they like to work with?
Huh?
What
Yeah.
were they like to work with?
Extraordinary clients, because they have given us access to all the information we need, and they have let us experiment and try things, and they have let us go way beyond what we thought would have been possible at the beginning. So that was, and I wanted to show this became world famous with the Operation Christmas, and everybody saw it, and it won all over the world. But I think the story before it and the story after it is also very, very powerful. And if you give that whole context, Operation Christmas is part of what we do, and it is an amazing part of what we do. But if you understand the whole thing, it's even more interesting. So I wanted to do that.
What did you feel that you gave to people with this campaign?
Well, you can look at it in many ways, but in average, in Colombia, there are 2,500 violence and war-related deaths every year. Mm-hmm. You could argue that if you diminish the intensity of war by 1%, mm-hmm. that would save 24, 25 lives altogether. 1% of less guerrillas is 30 guerrillas. Mm-hmm. We, with our campaigns and with everything else that goes on, are on an average of about 300. On a good month, we get like 350 guerrillas out, and on a bad month, we get like 100.
Yes.
So we are in very rational terms, we're saving lots of lives. But we're also making a better country. We're also changing our society and making it better, and helping everybody understand that there's a better way to resolve conflict than through violence, and that is in peaceful ways. And I think that is a deeper change, and that when that fundamentally changes, maybe the war will end completely in our country, I hope.
What was it like working directly with the guerrillas? Do they understand what you're doing?
They understand, they know what we're doing because we know that they're affected by it. We have direct proof that some campaigns that we do, they talk about. Some have even seen them, and we know the buzz that they generate. So they and some of them, of course, think that it's just propaganda.
Of course.
But all of those things we need to understand in order to make our campaign more and more and more efficient as time goes by. I think the hardest part is getting their trust. And I think the most rewarding part is once you get their trust, to really understand how, without insulting them and without doing anything that is like patronizing, how we can have a better conversation before they get out of the jungle, how we can actually affect their lives and make them think about stuff, put ideas in their heads in efficient ways.
Given the volatility of Colombia and the kind of fear that I imagine a lot of people grow up with there, what made you decide to become a creative? What was your trajectory?
Oh, well, I went to business school, and before that I was a civil engineer. Why I became a creative, I really don't know. I kind of fell into the role, but I've always, I think what motivates, what really moves me is I was in what I did, my two careers had very, very much to do with numbers and very little to do with people. And what inspires me and what motivates me is people and humanity and how people are and how they act and why they do the things they do, and can we make it better?
Right.
And we were having a silly discussion as we were walking over here with somebody who said, well, when you do these talks about creativity against terrorism, people start to wonder, it makes me wonder, why do I sell deodorant? And I say, because you're changing something that is good. There's nothing more awful than getting into a train or having a long flight with somebody who has not used deodorant.
This is true.
So you want to change that too. That makes it a better world. So we are we should look at our profession like that.
Is that how you managed to look at a lot of the things in your own career?
Yes.
Yes. And you feel that do you actually believe it, that you actually, even when working for something like deodorant or shampoo, that you actually were making the world better in a small way?
Yeah, I hope so. I want to believe. I want to believe I do. I want to understand why you can choose, why you should choose a certain product or not, and I want to and sometimes if it's just a brand,
Yeah.
if it's only the superficial is not the word, but I'll use it. Only the superficial aspect of driving around in a car whose brand you love. Well, at least you're happier. At least the person driving it achieved the car and he's happy and he's confident. And that's better.
What do you think made the government choose Lowe?
Oh, I don't know. I think trajectory. I think we have been a creative agency in the Colombian market, and we have been a creative agency all the time. But we have always been very focused on why we're doing what we're doing, and what we're doing it for. So for us, creativity is not a goal; it's a tool.
Right.
And I think that must have had a lot to do. And and maybe they saw something which they thought was amazing. I don't, but frankly, I never asked. When they gave us a chance, I said, I don't want to know why you chose me. I just want to know you chose me. So let's do it.
That's great. So what's next for you guys?
Well, we're still working on this. We're doing more and more stuff. It's getting bigger. Now we're starting to help with the reinsertion process, which is getting the people from the guerrilla, getting them into society. So now we're working by creating for them brands,
Yes.
so that they can create their factories or create their industries, and helping them develop their own brands, which is something that we know how to do, and market their brands and hopefully make them successful.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, well, then there will be a lot of work for guerrillas and for other people, which is good.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we're doing, and we have to keep doing advertising. That's what we do.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jose.
Thank you, and hope to see you soon. Hope to-
Absolutely.